Welcome to Core Finance. I'm joined by Matt Brown, a market commentator here at Core Finance. Matt, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Miss.
Right, let's kick off with market movers this morning. Without further ado, the headline, markets flat as oil's higher. I think the FTSE down 10 points.
Yes.
Very dull summer.
Yeah, flat as a pancake. We're into the summer months. We've got oils are slightly higher. I think it will just lead back to a slightly stronger dollar or weaker dollar. It was quite strong on Friday, and it's just given back a bit of its uplift that we saw on the back of non-farm payrolls on Friday, and that's feeding through to oil stocks, that's feeding through to gold, and certainly equities. But really, there's no key drivers in this market at the moment.
Lack of data this week.
There is a lack of data, and the business end is at the end of the week with the US inflation data, but we're kind of in a holding pattern in between, focus on corporate data that's still coming out from the UK and the US, but really now it's traders sat on their hands. I'm sure a lot of them can't even get into London with the problems at Waterloo, so they're just either going on holiday, sat on their hands, waiting for the next move in the market and then decide where the trend is.
Okay, talking of trending, what's trending this morning?
Seen a couple of things. I mean, first off, pets at home. They're up about 7-8% this morning, some good numbers. It does feel that the UK consumer isn't price sensitive when it comes to looking after their dog or cat, buying a dog toy for £10 or a cat toy for 15. They don't seem to care when it comes to looking after pets. So pets at home, major beneficiary of that. Elsewhere as well, we're seeing employers and agencies saying that there is becoming a job shortage in the UK, skilled jobs. Maybe it's a result of Brexit, some of the migrant workers are moving back, but what does that mean? Well, it could potentially mean wage inflation further down the line, which certainly at this stage isn't good for Bank of England.
I haven't seen that for a very long time. Yeah. Right, let's move swiftly on to the FTSE one to watch. Paddy Power Betfair are back on our slides.
Yes.
What's happened today?
I believe you had this slide on the show yesterday. Yep. Numbers out today. This on the back of the CEO resigning yesterday. Not good numbers from Betfair. There are three certainties in life. You're born, you die, and the bookies always make money when they're not making as much money. Why? Favourites such as Chelsea and a lot of the horses came in, the favourites came in at Cheltenham. So it meant for Betfair, they didn't, or Paddy Power Betfair, they didn't make as much money. Let's move on to the AIM market. One to watch there, ASOS, discover fashion online. Clearly not something I'm into, but what's caught your eye? Get out your iPad and have a look. Well, ASOS, as seen on screen, has been a stock market darling. I mean, they really were ahead of the curve when it went to online retailing. As it says, fashion online. They've done well in the UK. They're doing well globally, but they're looking to expand now in the US, and they've just invested £30 million on a warehouse, or building a warehouse in Atlanta, Georgia. They're really looking to get into that US space. They're already earning about 50% of the revenue from the US market. There's 300 million plus people in the US. That's a huge market for them. And they're really going to get into that bricks and mortar side of things. And they're ahead of the curve when it comes to Amazon as well. So a brilliant company and performing well.
Understood. Let's talk about something that hasn't been so brilliant in the last couple of days. The Great British Pound, cable, everyone was a buyer. Now we're back at 130.46 at the time of writing. In terms of euro, Great British Pound, 90.53. A bit of sterling weakness.
Yeah, sterling weakness, but I think a lot of that, again, was driven by dollar strength. We already talked about that at the start of the show. A lot of people unwinding out of the dollar shorts. That obviously caused cable to drop on the back of non-farm on payrolls on Friday. But people aren't really that positive of dollar. So, look, the shorts have unwound, stops have been hit. Where next? And you may actually see cable start to creep up to the 131 level.
Understood. Okay, so let's go on to the core number, 10.5 trillion. I don't know that my calculator has got that many zeros on it, but what is 10.5 trillion?
Well, it's a survey by Lloyds Private Bank. It was published the article published in City AM today. This is the total amount of wealth in the UK. Now, it doesn't actually divvy up the percentage split, who owns most of the wealth, but I'm sure the top quartile is a major factor. This has grown by about 10% in the past couple of years. That's a big number, but it's in pensions and ISAs. and property as well. Now, property, obviously, we've seen a property boom continue, albeit it's now starting to slow down, apparently. That's a huge amount of cash, and you've got to bear in mind a lot of that is going into, say, pensions and ISAs, and that is going into the stock market. Obviously, if we have a stock market crash, that figure is going to drop. But what does it mean? Does it mean people are going to quickly start drawing their savings out of the stock market? And will we see it tumble even further if we do have a crash?
Understood. Let's wrap up with the economic calendar for today. In terms of the US of A, NFIB business optimism. Then in 3 o'clock in the States, the JOLTS job openings. And finally, China, 2:30 in the morning, the PPIs and CPIs.
Yeah, two things here. It just goes to show you probably don't recognise any of these announcements.
I don't.
They are minor announcements. They are not going to move the market. Switch off your screen. Don't pay attention because they're not going to drive the market.
Don't go to Clapham Junction or Waterloo.
Yeah, indeed. And Chinese dentist, 2:30 in the morning. If you can't get to sleep, PPI and CPI numbers. We've had some weaker Chinese data out this morning. Look out for that because that may drive oil and certainly mining stocks tomorrow morning.
Matt, as always, thank you very much indeed for your time.